Alright, welcome back. Man, this has been a great hour. We started saying HVZ and then relationships, and that was a nice thing, but I'm glad that we got to have that gun conversation, because especially on the Murica 2017 World Tour, we're going to blow up the Centurion and fire more rounds than were fired in some wars throughout history.
People are going to get so butthurt about that Centurion.
No, I don't think it will. It's already trashed, and it's had balls stapled to it, you know? I want to talk a little bit more about relationships, and I think the cool thing about these Nerf Porch Real Talks is we don't have a destination. We have kind of like a, hey, let's talk about these things along the way. But I'm going to hand it over to Ryan after I say my last two things, because I have learned a bit over my, I guess I've been dating for 20 years now. So what I talked about in terms of like, you have to, don't give up on your friends. Your friends are important, even when you have a girl that you're really excited about, even when you have a guy that you're really excited about. And I'm not saying anything like the Frodo and the Samwise, like save something for the return trip, because that implies that you're just like always kind of hanging one foot out the door, and I don't think you need to. And so the situation was, lost my three best friends, lost my girlfriend in high school, I had to go a different route, and I took a lot of pain from that, and I didn't date for 3 years after that because it just hurt, man. I was just really afraid, and I was still wrapped up in it. And then after that, I got another girlfriend. And I learned to just be like, wow, there's other fish in the sea. And I think everyone needs that one breakup when you're young, like your first love, to just realize, I can come back from this. There are other people that can make me happy. And whether you believe in the perfect person for your soulmate, that's not important. I think, for me, I think that there's a lot of people that make me happy in different ways. Sexual, non-sexual, playing video games, playing Nerf, and that's all okay. And I think they're kind of all equal in importance in our lives. But so, lost a girlfriend, lost the three best friends, didn't date for 3 years, and then immediately after that, my response to that, I feel like all of our relationships currently are influenced by the one before that, and even the ones before that, because I think even like, maybe your parents were really strict, and then when you have kids, you say, okay, I'm never going to be strict, and then you're really too loose with them. My parents were a little bit too loose with me, and like it didn't really drive me. I didn't have that learn how to play the piano, and like I kind of got to college and I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing with my life, because no one cracked the whip. And so if I had kids, I would be a little bit more like, hey, just kind of push you, but not too hard. You like open doors, but don't shove you through it. But I think we're in cycles that we can't even really see. The past two boyfriends or girlfriends I've had, or boyfriends and anything like that. And so my response to lost the girlfriend, lost the three best friends, was to establish a clear line of separation of church and state. And I think this is an easy next step for that, because you realize, okay, if they're together, then I lose them all. Let's keep them separately. I'll only hang out with my girl. I won't bring my girl around my friends. And then it works for a little bit, but it really, being in a relationship is about sharing your life. And I think that there is importance in terms of, if I go into a relationship and I bring a girlfriend around Sammy, I would like to think that when we end, the girlfriend would have enough respect for me to see that Sammy is so important in my life that a casual friendship with him is a disservice to the love that we once had. And so to be like, oh, okay, well, I want Sammy now too, and to kind of fight over it, I think that causes issues, and that forces you into the separation of church and state mentality. And so I did that for a long time, and it really didn't work. I always had one foot out the door. I was always kind of just like, I don't want to say age because I don't want to tie it down, but I was always one foot out the door. Wasn't ready to commit, wasn't ready to settle down and have kids, and really like wanted to date people. And so every time I'd get into a relationship, I'd be like hesitant to go too far, perhaps maybe because I was lukewarm about the relationship, and maybe just waiting for that perfect person when the person around me, who I really wasn't that compatible with, just like no matter how hard you forced it, it wasn't going to work. But let's talk about the separation of church and state. That will eventually lead to feeling like, okay, I'm not good enough to be a part of your life, like that you keep me a secret and you're not proud of me and stuff like that, and X, Y, Z, all these other different byproducts of that equation. And so after that, I did the full immersion. I'm like, okay, well, I guess the next girlfriend, I guess she can just hang out all the time and be a part of my friend groups. And then, like most relationships, sometimes you break up and it's not permanent, and then man, like, I'm not going to say they start banging your buddy. Let's say they banging your buddy because they really liked him a whole lot, because no one owns anybody. And I think everyone should be as happy as they can possibly be with being as cool as they possibly can be to their ex-partners and their friends. Just don't be a dick, but try and be happy as you can. And so, but let's say it's worst case scenario that after that equation of like you pull somebody into your life and you say, okay, I'm all in on this one. This one I'm going to give it my full ass, and you get to be a part of my life and I get to be a part of yours. And then you get burned, and your partner, your ex-partner, you lose a best friend because they just start to date, and you get really hurt by that. And then that kind of pushes you further into that separation of church and state of, I'll never do that again. And man, you're setting yourself up to just be an unhealthy person that can't really have relationships, because you're always afraid of what that girl's going to do after you break up. And if you go into a relationship and think, when this ends, I got to make sure I'm going to be okay. You shouldn't have to be thinking about when this ends. You should just be thinking about you make me happy today. And if you make me happy today and we make each other happy tomorrow, we're going to keep doing this. And then it gets more complex with kids and longer, deeper commitments with marriage and just promise. And it gets more complicated. But I will say from experience that you will go down a road of... there ain't happiness down that road, and there's not happiness on the separation of church and state road, and there's definitely not happiness in that, like, being afraid that someone's gonna get back at you and be mad. And I think what it comes down to is if you're dating somebody that you break up one time and they do something really hurtful, that they're not like gonna be respectful and loving of you even in times when they don't like you. I think that's a warning sign, and that's I don't want to say you can't work through that, because you definitely can, and people grow and become new people. But I look back on all the times that I've trusted people to, like, leave me my best friend after we break up, and been hurt by that, and I wish I would have just walked away at that point, because from that point on, the relationship, it's not like poison to be ruined, but I'm never going to look at them the same, and I'm never going to quite trust them to just to put me as a priority even when they hate me, when they're hurt. And I think that's how, as people, we are better partners during the relationship and after the relationship. When you break up with someone, my rule of thumb is to never be mean to someone who was nice enough to have sex with me. But that also extends as nice enough to be my friend. I see those two things as synonymous. And I think if you kind of look at it like that, of like, even when you're hurt, like, don't take it out on them. If you don't need to talk to them for a while, that's fine. But just, like, think about the person, like, the most in love you've ever been with that person, and the most happiness they brought to you. And when you're mad at them because you miss them and you don't know how to deal with it, treat them like the person you love, not the person you're hurt by right now. So I think it's taken a little bit of me being single and kind of appreciating, like, man, it's been that cat. There's been a lot of things that I used girls to fulfill in my life, of just that intimacy, and that also intimacy kind of smears over into just the sexual part, because we get intimacy through sexual stuff. But this is intimate as fuck right now, boys. We're talking about our lives, and so really just having that cat and just being my snuggle buddy, and just like that has actually made me feel like I'm actually a healthier person that has more to give to a relationship rather than more to require of a relationship. And so when I do get into a relationship, it's not like I'm having sex with my cat. But man, that cat's snuggling with me and just like loving on me. That's the intimacy part of the equation that kind of poisons sometimes, because you kind of mistake that for the sexual side of it.
So what you're saying is you're literally step one of being a crazy cat man.
Absolutely, and I wear it with pride, because you met that girl, man. She's a flag worth flying behind.
Rob, if you really want to, I would cuddle with you. I'll even let you be Big Spoon.
So yeah, like every time I talk to somebody about relationships, it's always just like, this is like the anger thing. I did a real talk about anger, and really, like, anger is not the only emotion you're allowed to have as a male or a female or as a person. Like, most of the time you're hurt. So what I want you to do is, if you're ever in those ragey moments where you're thinking about just screaming, punching walls, like, I want you to take one step back, go for a walk, and think, why am I mad? And it's usually because you're hurt, or you miss somebody, or you realize, I'm never going to get to see this person again because we're not dating anymore. And work on that. Work on becoming at peace with that, rather than just being mad and trying to just, you're flailing. You know, you're pressing that A button in Street Fighter. Like, you're just like, man, I don't know what to do, so I'm gonna Eddie Gordo this shit, you know? Figure out what you're upset about and focus on working through that. And if you need some time away from people, man, there's a lot of clarity that can come from that. But if you take it in the, there's a lot of dudes that I met, maybe chicks too, but definitely chicks, where when they break up with someone, they're really quick to, like, blame them of, oh, they did this and they did that. Well, relationships are a series of kind of events of they did, she did, like, it's complex, but you almost just have to forgive and just say, well, it was a breakup and we were both hurt, so we probably did some things, we were probably at our worst, and throughout our relationship we probably were so open that we hurt people. And just cut people some fucking slack. If they were nice enough to love you, don't ever punish them for loving you, you know? Alright, that's my 2 cents. Just be honest with yourself. Just anger, if you get mad, you lose. And if someone's nice enough to love you today, like, just never punish them for that. if for the simple, like, sociopath kind of just like, well, then girls probably won't date you if they see that you were mean to the one you dated before. But I think it's the right thing to do. I think that's how you be a better person, is you don't punish people for loving you. You know? All right, I'm gonna hand it over to Ryan, unless anyone has any follow-ups. We can go in relationships. We can talk more about Endwar. I'd like to hear some more thoughts on that. I just laid down a whole bunch of quasi-truth, and so if there's responses to that, I definitely want to hear. But we can. The relationship's a touchy thing, and even like through just even being mad at our past relationships, like you heard my hesitancy of my voice of just like the people who know me of like, okay, is he talking about girlfriend number 1, girlfriend number 2? And I don't ever. When I went in the hospital for my suicide thing, it happened to correlate around the time that someone broke up with me that I really cared about, and I didn't ever talk about it. I didn't even acknowledge the breakup for 6 months after that, except to my close friends. And the reason why I did that is not because I was ashamed of it, is because I put myself in a situation that led me to be overstressed and to be at a point where I was just stretched too thin. And then when we broke up, I was fine with that. We were compatible and it was fine. I never wanted the correlation of all of me sharing my story about my suicide stuff to ever go down on them, because I never once blamed her for it. It was just like I was unable, in the level of stress that I gave myself and that I lived by, of I was self-destructive. I pedaled to the metal. When we finally broke up, it was just like I was unable to handle that level of a life change. But it absolutely was not her fault. It was my fault. But it also, relationships don't have to be people's faults. It's a road you're walking down, and sometimes you just need to pick another road, and it's okay. And it doesn't matter who made the road before, who dug the gravel, you know. So just, I think that says a lot. To just like, even though I was terribly hurt that I was probably never going to get to hang out with her again, you know, I made sure that I was a loving ex-partner to her, that she never once, anyone ever thought of, oh, was it because of that? Because it wasn't, you know. Ryan, or any follow-ups to that? And you get to pick wherever we go. We could talk about cotton candy and raccoons if you want.
I have no idea how to follow that.
Well, was it bullshit? Was there anything that you kind of like heard that was like? I
mean, a lot of what you said was personal experience, and you know, I don't really want to go into it.
Absolutely.
You know, from my experience, but I wouldn't say that what you've said is 100% true all the time.
I think that's the point, though. It's I think it was the fact that
everyone's different, and you've got to sort of take your relationship with another person how it comes to you. You know, the relationships I started with my girlfriend 4 years ago is so unrecognizable in its current format that, you know, I don't like, if we could see both of us, like when I asked my girlfriend out, where we'd be today, you know, I think it would scare us. You know, I think we would be like, whoa, but you know, that's not what's happened, because we both have evolved and grown as people around each other, and so any rule you try and set or follow is just an absolute folly, because it's a person, it's a human, it's a shared experience, and you're constantly growing and evolving that. So anything that you might think today, you may not even think in 6 months down a relationship, 18 months, 3 years, 4 years, whatever.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So
how do you respond to the statement? Because let's scrape a lot of that shit off I just said and said. I think it's all about just trying to be a better friend, and just like, I think if you strive to love better, I think it's a lot of details, and I think loving people is also trying to understand where they're coming from. And I think even in my breakups, it's a shitty place to be when you know someone so well that you can't be mad at them for acting the way that they do, because you understand it. And I think,
but yeah, that's another thing as well. Like going through uni and stuff, I knew a fair few people who were non-monogamous, you know, and so trying to love someone better in a polygamous relationship, that's not how it works, you know. And so I've experienced that. Like, a lot of my friends had a lot of tension in their lives because, you know, they're trying to love someone, and that person loves them and loves someone else and loves 4 other people, you know.
It's complicated, like, and it's that monkey jealousy, that ape hindbrain of just like that we want to possess people. We don't even really know why. Of just like
sure, but you know, some people can transcend that. So that generic advice of you know, love someone better, that even that is not 100% applicable.
I agree. I'll agree that nothing is 100% in relationships and even life. But I think,
as I said, I had a friend who was seeing like 6 or 7 different people, and each of those was seeing other people. So you know,
judging too, though, it's a matter of like, I think the only thing we're responsible for is deciding which type of relationships make us happy. And perhaps you get, we're talking about poly. I've definitely been non-monogamous at times, and there's been times where that was absolutely, I wanted to have as much love and experience in my life, just like I want to have more than one friend. I wanted to do that. And now I'm at a point now where like, I'm like, man, I've been single for long enough, and I'm getting to that age where like I've kind of felt a lot of it, and I'm really ready to kind of, I don't know about necessarily having kids, but I'm really ready to kind of, it's that cat has made me just like, I feel like I'm no longer dictated by what my dick is telling me to do, that my intimacy needs are getting fulfilled through stuff like this, and my cat, and I think that's huge. But even the poly stuff, like, if you're not comfortable with something...
Even going back to what you're saying about doing things that make you happy, like, even that's not necessarily true, right? Because going back to me personally, you know, I've been in a long-distance relationship for basically 3.5, 4 years. Of my 4 and a bit year relationship, almost all of that has been long distance.
So hard, man.
And that is a very significant cause of pain, you know. And if I only ran by the principle of do what makes you happy, you know, I wouldn't be in this relationship. But I know that when that ends, you know, when that's over, when, you know, it's no longer long distance, that will make me happy. So even if you're going through something that, you know, times are tough, that you're pissing each other off, there's something that's wrong between you, like, that's not a hard and fast rule of why to abort, you know, like, sometimes you just stick with it, you know, so be patient, work through it, you know, and that's why, you know, it's not always about both of you being happy, it's about working towards being better people. I think that's the hard and fast rule. I think that's
it. And I don't really even want to be friends with people who aren't working on themselves, because if you're stagnant and just being like, well, I'm just going to be the same Rob tomorrow, man, I don't know.
Again, and I know at the same time that in sort of the pits of my depression, that I know that I wasn't working towards being a better person. I was just being sucked down a vortex of, you know, of pain. And so I wasn't a good person around the people that I loved. But they stuck with me, you know.
I think I love the stuff that you just talked about in terms of just like, and I think that all comes down to almost an agreement on at what point is being unhappy unacceptable, and just like at what point does it become, I won't even say abusive, but just like at what point is it just like when you got more days that are miserable than happy, at what point is it better for both of you? And I think a lot of it is just being honest with it. I think a lot of people don't talk about where they're at and as it's changing, because maybe they're afraid to, especially once you get married. But even just like, I think the level of commitment when you say, you know what, we're going to work this out no matter what, and we're going to stick it together. I think that's even changed in terms of that meaning, because, you know, divorce rate is so high, and like saying we're going to be married forever doesn't really mean forever anymore, because you've always got that, well, I mean, if they really drive me crazy, I'll just leave. And I think that's another level of it. And I don't think, I think we could all agree.
I don't even want to get married.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't think so.
I'm going to be with this person for the rest of my life, I hope, but I don't want to get married, you know. And neither of us do, you know. Neither Andrew or I believe in this idea of marriage, because you can't own someone.
Yeah. I think, but I think at the same point, where I've been with people, you're saying you don't ever want to get married, and I completely agree with that. I see relationships in terms of like a salesman kind of thing, and sometimes it's easier to sell than others. I think you don't, even if someone has said, I'm going to stick with you no matter what, that doesn't give you the right to stop like trying. And whatever that means, it's not like if you're depressed, like, I mean, like, some of the best improvements in my life and becoming a better person has come after 6 months of just being depressed and suicidal, and evolving into a better butterfly afterwards. And I think that's where the level of where you agree to say, we're going to work on this, and even if we have 6 months, even if we have 12 months, and that might be a marriage agreement, I think that's what a marriage really is. It's saying, even when it's bad, I'm still going to do my best to love you, and I'm going to work through it.
Sure.
But the cancer point is just like, at one point, you only get one life, and if 3/4 of your year is miserable and 3/4 of their year is miserable, I think it's there's no hard fast rule for that. But I don't know. I think it's important to talk about that, and I think even the core of this conversation is just like, hey, talk with your spouse. Like, take anything from this is just like.
No, I think honestly, this whole talk is talk. You know, whatever it's about, your mind, and this is something that I kind of sort of struggle with quite a lot, because I can take a thought and run through so many different permutations and versions, and I can go very deep down the rabbit hole of an idea very quickly. And so if I keep my thoughts to myself, and thinking back, this is exactly why I was hit so hard by this. If you only think the way that you yourself think, you'll never have a new input. And this is why I was in my room for months at a time, because I thought, hey, I just got to sit and think this out. But what I really needed to do is talk it out with someone who thought differently, because you can't break a spiral that you're in on your own impetus, otherwise you wouldn't be in that spiral. I'm sure maybe you can, but as a rule, you know, you need new inputs, you need new data to work with, you need new loops in order to grow as a person. And if you're in a loop that's self-destructive, then it's almost impossible to get out of it by yourself.
One of my when I talk about Thunderdome, it's really trying to sum it up in one thesis statement. It's a line in the sand that says we is always better than I. And not to say that the I is also a part of that, and that's kind of in the second chapter of me figuring out, but it's just basically saying, like, dicking around in this backyard, man, that's better than me playing Modern Warfare by myself and just ruining my life. Us talking right now, him coming up, it's always going to be better if you share your life, or we're like, whether it's intelligent design or we're apes, we're social creatures. And I think the things really stop. Things get worse when you're alone, and then depression just straight up lies to you and says that you're worthless, and says you'll be better if you just sleep more, and then you sleep more, then you're depressed. And sometimes it's just saying, like, hey Sammy, come play video games with me, even when you don't want to, but even just say, hey, let's do something, or and then Sammy, knowing me as a friend, realizes that I'm in a bad spot, and he just maybe wakes me up the next day, says, hey, let's go do something. It's always better to have more hands there, and I agree with you, man. Just the talking, man. That's just like,
and at the same time, you know, and not even for the people in that situation. It's also for the people around people who might be in that situation. Now, I'm not going to blame any of my friends for, you know, not helping me or something, but I know that I didn't get support from my friends. I had to, you know, I had to get told in a phone call by my mom, you know, when I sort of. I honestly, you know what it actually was? The first time that I went and saw counseling, I was, you know, I'd been in bed for almost a week, and I was just doing whatever, and a friend of mine from a past life, from uni, I hadn't seen them in 3-4 years.
By the way, I love how you talk about past lives, because I think it's so applicable to so many of us, but anyway, continue.
Yeah, he literally just sent me a Facebook message that said, you know, hey man, how's it going? Just trying to catch up, and it was that point I sort of just realized, yeah, not good.
Dude, you admitted it, and it's like, I don't know if it's just an American thing, but we always say, oh, it's going all right. Inside you're saying, fuck, everything's on fire. I don't know why I'm here. Yeah, school, all that.
But that message made me think, you know, okay, no, I'm not okay. And from then I called my mom and just said, hey mom, I'm not good. And she said, look, you know, this is where you're going, and she looked it up for me. She figured out where my closest GP was. Fortunately, it was at uni, you know, and I was there later that day, and you know, I was in tears the whole morning until I got there and spoke to the counselor, and you know, that did help me, but my situation didn't change, and so I stopped going to the counsellor after I thought I was better, and just went back to exactly what I was before, because I hadn't sort of taken on board that idea of you know, openness and breaking loops, you know, and
I like what you said there.
That's what it is. That, you know, if you try and think about your problems yourself, only yourself, you're only going to be able to come to the same conclusions you've already come to, because your brain doesn't just instantly change by thinking, You know, it just goes through the same pathways because that's how our brains are wired. They're wired in pathways.
Isn't it crazy how depressed brain, like, you like to think survival of the fittest, that our brain wants us to be happy, but then when your brain is actively acting like it's trying to destroy you almost, of just like, that's where I have a really hard time with that, because I don't know where that starts and where the world's just a dark, scary place, and maybe that's just how things are. But then get those SSRIs and you feel happy again once you kind of have made that progress, you know.
And look, if you're the kind of person that needs a chemical to kick you out of the loop, then that's what you need. And for some people, that's 100% necessary. You know, but for other people, it's talking to someone. For other people, it's going on a trip to America and meeting all of your internet friends, you know.
America.
We are real.
Yeah, you know, I know that I've grown and changed as a person more in the last 5 days, talking to some of the people that I know really deeply. Rob, you know, some other people, I'm not going to name names, but, you know, I've changed more on this trip than I have in the last 12 months of trying to think it through myself. You know, not because I've spoken to them in any sort of great detail, but just because being around people in different situations and ideas just forces you to think different.
Feeling the sunshine of people too, though, like even just like in that being stuck in your room, and then just being around people, you sometimes even forget that you're depressed, and you forget that you're sad. I think that really helps a lot too, you know.
Yeah, I mean, for me, anyone I talk to about, you know, talking to someone personally, I bring up this idea that I read, I don't remember where I read it, but this idea of masks and faces, and that, you know, everyone has different masks they put on at different points in time, and, you know, sometimes, you know, I fell into the trap with the group of friends that I have of just keeping that mask on, and even though what I really needed to talk to and wanted to talk to was, you know, under that, you know, just the habit of putting that mask on. Oh, hey Ryan, how's it going? Yeah, good, you know. And that really prevents it, and that's why new situation, new place it's loop breaking.
You get to be a new person if you choose to be, and I think that's really special.
Yeah. So I'm not saying that everyone has to spend several $1,000s coming and going on an overseas trip and whatever, but you know, just breaking the loop, because your brain is lying to you. It's going to go through the same ideas, and it's just going to keep reinforcing them if you keep not sharing and not thinking, you know. Yeah.
See this thing back here?
The same thing over and over again.
This is what broke my loop, and there's been other things that broke my loop. This guy right here, and sometimes you don't know what's going to do it, but I think when in doubt, go out, talk to people, reach out to your friends. Like that was our last real talk.
You know, and even then, it's I wouldn't even say talk to friends if it's that bad for you, like it was for me. Talk to people you know only by association. Talk to people you know only by shared interest. You know, because if you talk to friends, you're still going to be in that same loop.
Oh, yeah, I can see
putting
that.
on a mask and pretending it's not a problem.
So you're saying by focusing on kind of new people, like you get to take off the mask because you get to make a new mask, and maybe that's just the kick in the ass. I like that, yeah. Because
your brain doesn't lie to those people by habit.
And you're excited about new people too. Yeah. You're excited about those new people too. I really like that. That's cool, man. Thanks for sharing that. All right, let's go a different direction. I want to give this about 20 more minutes, and then we'll wrap up for the night because we want to go play Diablo. And
yes, we do.
Let's recap back on Endwar.
Okay, yeah, let's go back. Let's give people a chance to kind of. Do you have anything you want to say about anything? We don't want to move back onto Nerf because that's quite the jump. If you got anything else you want to add to it, you're more than welcome to tangent in a little bit. Or
I was going to talk about Endwar.
Okay. Any final thoughts? They're good? Okay, let's jump back into Endwar. I'm going to hand it over to Shelby and let him drive where we're going.
I didn't get to go to Endwar, but I saw...
Was he taking the Endwar step?
but I want to give my perspective from the home audience.
Yeah, that's something.
Perspective. Like, I watched a lot of Rob's live streams.
Oh my god, there's ants everywhere!
Yeah.
Ah! Fuck off!
And one of the coolest things and that I saw from like the live streams was the final mission, and like the wall of zombies on one side, and then like the small group of humans, and then the chorus of flywheels that revved up. It was so beautiful.
The nemesis.
And I so wanted to be there, but it was I just appreciate Rob for live streaming that, because like for people who couldn't go, it was awesome to see and get all the coverage.
I don't think you may have noticed this. Me and Shelby's friendship is fairly new. We've been knowing each other for about a year. He's been coming over helping out. But in the past, I felt like, oh, I need to film all this shit. I need to go up and film all these missions for the movie that I was working on. And now the movie's done. I got my YouTube stuff that ain't making any money, so I'm making the stuff I want to make. But I did Troll and Tony stuff. Me and Sammy got all this crap together to give away. And honestly, when I got up to Endwar, I was planning on live streaming every single mission. I got up there and the mods had it fucking handled. I made sure I kind of did a couple of things, but pretty soon into it, I realized, like, you know what? And that was kind of my last hurrah for HVZ stuff. I had a great fucking time. I hung out at FoamCon, and I didn't try and do too much. Like halfway through, I was just so exhausted. I said, however much you show up and you're able to give, that is the amount you're supposed to, and not feel bad about it. And I only live streamed that one last mission, and the rest of it, I got to be trolling Tony without a camera on. And it got to be for me too, because I got to be that character, you know.
From stealing the limelight once again.
Yeah.
Because I can totally empathize with that, being both a war admin and someone who, films events and wars and stuff. I'm really sorry, Justin, if you're watching this. I didn't take a single photo and I didn't film a single thing at Endwar, and that was so liberating.
Isn't it?
I didn't have to shout at anyone for breaking the rules. Oh my gosh, there was actually a point in time where I did that, and I was like, oh my god, that guy didn't take his tag, I'm gonna have to take this to the admin, and I jumped in that and went, well, this isn't my problem.
It was someone else's party, and even me, I was involved in
And to whoever that guy was, who, I dragged out in front of the admin and forced him to play Pistols at Dawn with Containment Crew guy, I'm really sorry about that. That was just my brain going into admin mode.
Absolutely.
I
didn't even call a single fucking dart hit on this thing, and it was great because it's what I needed. Because last year NVZ was all for everybody else. It was all at the expense of draining the gas tank of Rob and making sure everybody had it. And I wear that banner with pride, and I don't regret giving that gift that needed to be given. But this is that's why I got that Troll and Tony tattoo on my arm. It's just like Thunderdome Rob doesn't have to exist anymore. I really felt like, man, this shit's gonna be okay without me. And if I want to come back, I'm more than welcome to. But I like that I only filmed that last mission because that mission is special. I focused more on one thing, and then also made Rob a priority to hang out with Sammy and blow our silly horns. And as soon as Ryan showed up after the RV, I got to hang out with him and kick it a little bit and see how tired he was. Hang out with Jack and do silly quests with him, and I fucking loved Endwar this year because Endwar was not on my shoulders. And I'll say this is definitely I bet you this has a little bit of Drac influence, but it's definitely mods. Take your kicks from that too. When we were in the hall for FoamCon, I didn't feel like I was a fucking attraction. I felt like that was a community room where it was not so tight. It was very open. I didn't have a single person come up to me and not respect the fact that, like, I'm a little bit different because I'm not just selling Nerf guns. Like, I'm telling my story, and sometimes I can only handle 5 minutes with a new person. But I never want, and I think it's because I had my boys with me too. Because it's just like if there was someone who looked like they were going to just ask a bunch of questions, I'd let John Proc handle it, or Sammy just jump in, and then it was cool to hear them tell the story of Thunderdome and me not feeling like I had to. But I know me and Ryan talked about this. It just we didn't feel like we were sideshow attractions. That we were like there to dance like monkeys. Like it felt like it was just as much for us as everybody else.
I don't know. Like that was my first experience of being an internet celebrity in a place, and so. I don't know how to relate to that because I haven't had any other experience.
How is that possible? You guys are huge in Australia. Like, I've heard the answer to this, but I want to know.
I mean, we just have the people that come up to our wars, So occasionally we'll have a person who's new and sort of joins up, and so it's like, oh, I've watched your videos and stuff online, but when I'm at a war, I take off, make this Battle Ryan face, and I put on, Nerf War admin face.
Yeah.
So I'm a very, very different person to those people, and so that sort of jolts them, and they're not there to hang out with this internet celebrity Ryan from Mate's Battle. They're attending a Nerf War that I'm running. So
I think there's a freedom in taking off the mask, and because I think ultimately what the faces you describe, like I think the real Ryan's somewhere in the middle of that, and I think sometimes we want to be a certain thing, but I think once you take off the mask and say, all right, well, it may not be perfect and it may not be exactly what it needs to be, but that's when you can have personal growth.
Yeah.
And where you actually kind of find where your happiness is rather than where it should be,
Yeah, exactly. And you know, everyone has different levels, and I have different levels, and I know what level I'm talking to people now at, you know. But that's because I consider myself exceptionally self-aware. You know, I don't know if everyone consciously do that, but you know, we do it anyway. You know, I'm not the same around you guys when the camera's on, when the camera's off, when it's people I've just met, blah 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 blah. So
I think I'm a little bit louder, just because I know about like waves and peaks and stuff. But
yeah, but the real Ryan is very much behind those a lot of the time, and that's one of the problems that I had, that I would bury that really. Until this last week, the only other person that I've shown, you know, private face Ryan, which is who I consider myself to be, is my girlfriend. You know, and even then that was meted out. So
man, I'm glad he's coming out of that fucking room, cause
yeah,
He's a good guy. I like him.
you know.
and
Conversations we had in the car, and conversations I had with people that I'm more, you know, the most open that I've ever been with other people. So
I think we're afraid of people going to judge us too. Like, we're just like, I think once you start sharing your story and you just start talking about how you feel, like it's so contagious, because like you feel free.
But that's not an unfounded fear. Like, you know, there is a point of too much information. You know, if I dumped all of my personal things on people, you know, there's a lot of things that people wouldn't like. There's a lot of things that, you know, you guys wouldn't like about
I disagree.
me if I jumped on.
I disagree, brother. I'm the weirdest guy I know, and really, like, I think once you come down to it, is
You met me.
here. I'm gonna. This is specifically for you in this conversation. This is. I was about 19 years old, and this is coming from everyone's kind of homophobic. All the dudes, everyone's calling each other gay all the time. I was in a high school youth group at a church. And, dude, we talked about masturbation a whole lot, because it was one of those things. A lot of us were new Christians, and we were just like, oh, the Jesus thing sounds cool, but, like, you don't want me to touch myself? Well, how is that really... And I can't have sex before marriage? All these things that a 19-year-old kid wants to do, and so we're just kind of struggling of doubt and how to, like, come to grips with that. Just like this. This is where the roots of that is those small groups. And I remember one dude, and I was very reserved. I was still just afraid of people calling me a faggot for having thoughts. And we're sitting around, and it wasn't in the church. It was, like, kind of sitting around a campfire just like this. And one dude's just like, we were talking about masturbation or something. Some guy's like, yeah, I put a finger up my butt before just because I was curious. And he's like, dude, he's a macho dude. He's got muscles. Like he's like the guy who you'd call to help you in a fight and stuff. And everyone was just like, kind of looked at him in that every bit of pain you'd ever felt, of faggot, faggot, faggot. I think I was like, yeah, I've done that too. And felt kind of weird, but it was good. And it was just like that idea of just like that level is so clear of like, if you touch your butthole, you're a faggot. And that dude was just like, hey, man, I kind of just want to talk and be real about this. That's one of the first open dudes I ever met. After that, man, there was a whole, like, 8 dudes being like, oh, no, I never done that. And then, like, by the end of it, everyone had kind of admitted to something sexually that they were ashamed of. And so, like, maybe you've had sex with a badger. And maybe I haven't. But, man, I've done some stuff that's pretty fucking weird by most people's standards. And so I think... once we start getting to that point, I think even at the point of like, dude, I can admit to things that I've done that really fucking hurt people, especially in relationships. And I think even admitting to ourselves that like that was wrong. Why was it wrong? Because it hurt them, and it's hard to really like work through that. But there's nothing you could tell me unless you said, man, in my basement I got a bunch of babies, and I poke them with spikes and I put them in the microwave, and then I name them and then put masks on them. Like that would be like, man, we got to have a conversation about that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about just like. You've had thoughts, and you've maybe had things that aren't allowed in our society.
Again, I don't want you to even try to put words in my mouth there.
Yeah.
But I know that there are things that I will never share with anyone. You know?
And you don't have to. Well, I'm just saying, like, if you ever did, wouldn't change any way I fucking feel about you, because I probably felt something twice as weird, subjectively. But I just want to say, I put a finger in my butt, Ryan, and I kind of liked it, and that's okay. And I still like girls. But even if I didn't, that would still be okay too. And I don't need to know where the fingers and the butts have been, because it doesn't define us. And I think that's it. We are not our mistakes.
I feel like our actions should never define us, like, if it's showing our true colors like that. I feel like we're all, it's in that broad spectrum, we're all people, and we have our own niches, and we should just love each other for that. It shouldn't matter if you like a little finger in your butt. It doesn't matter if you like to fuck a badger. You're a human being.
As long as the badger's not getting hurt, I don't really give a shit.
It does. Yeah,
different conversation, but we'll come back. Anyway.
It doesn't matter. You're all people, and we should love each other. It doesn't matter.
Greta Christina talked about this thing at the Skepticon talk, where she talks. It was a really good like sexuality talk, in terms of man, I talk about liking broccoli and equating that to sexuality, and I think a lot of just let's just say this. Just because I like or you like broccoli and I don't like broccoli, that doesn't mean I get to be like, oh, that's not okay. Like, so like if you're with a dude and I'm just like, man, I don't really like dudes, that doesn't mean it's wrong at all. And so there's some things of, if people are being hurt, and I think we can all agree rape is wrong, murder is wrong. We're just gonna go, you can rip anything apart, but we're gonna say rape, murder is wrong, and when people are hurt, more hurt than they planned on getting, that's 400 level class. But anyway, I think once you kind of just do that, of just like, even not having to understand, but even just being like, maybe it's really easy to just be like, eating poop, let's say, that's on my never to do list. But even that's such an extreme thing of just like, even that, if they like to do that, it's not hurting anybody, why can't they eat poop? That's where we're at with a lot of things in life, and with a lot of like weird thoughts, and I think that's why we just punish ourselves, and we're just like, man, that's really weird and that's not okay. Don't ever show that to anybody, because they'll never understand.
See,
and
that's unhealthy. You should never like, a person should never talk to like another person like that about in that spectrum. Like, oh god, I lost train of thought.
Oh no, you're good.
Brain derp.
Well, I don't even think ever. I think there is that line of what we're talking about is sometimes there's legitimate problems that I think you can look at it in terms of society and also for your friends. Like, society's too big to think of like the impact of that, but if I can think what I'm doing is hurting the person I'm with and also would hurt the people around me, then maybe it's less okay. But not because they're judging me, but just like that line of like, if you really like to kick puppies, well, you can't, because that puppy doesn't like to be kicked. So we're all kind of agreeing.
And I guess what I was just trying to say before is,
sorry, brother.
I don't know, like there are things that you don't. How do I say that without saying that I like kicking puppies?
Yeah,
like,
it's fine.
Yeah, no, that's.
I'll say another one.
It's difficult to make the point that I was trying to make without now making it seem like I like something that's evil.
I'll grab the evil out of the air. I've thought about killing people. I haven't ever killed anyone, but I've been mad enough to kill people. And I think that's one of those lines of it's just say those words out loud. I think everyone's like, oh, I've thought about killing my boss. But man, there was times in my younger years, like where ex-girlfriends of just like their new partner, where I didn't have the tools to really deal with that. Absolutely was just, that it races through your head. And now I look at it, I'm like, I don't even want to hit a motherfucker. But that evil, it exists in all of us. Sometimes deep, sometimes shallow. And yeah, I think that's it, man. Like, I think that's the most, like, take sexuality out of it. It's weird. It is what it is, the broccoli thing. But I think even just that idea of just like, that I've thought dangerous thoughts before like that. And coming in a post-Columbine era, like, man, I thought about killing some kids when they bullied the shit out of me. Like, I was thinking about killing myself. And, like, the thing is, in terms of, like, I think there's a natural progression of, okay, I'm going to kill myself. What before? Do you punish the people who made you miserable? Or do you go on an epic trip? There's stories of, there's suicide prevention where they say, okay, I'm already going to kill myself. Why not spend all my money and go on a bike trip across America? There's a dude, and they made a documentary about this. And then through that, he told his buddies about this, and they went for it, and they made a movie about it. And now the dude's alive. Like that story of the guy was going to kill himself, but he went and banged hookers and did heroin and stuff down in Mexico, and now he wants to live. Like, I think that's the deepest secret you can share, because that's absolutely misinterpretable. That those words of me saying, I've thought about killing people before, that almost makes me untrustworthy. But I think everyone has felt those same thoughts. So I'm just kind of putting myself out there and saying, like, I'm trusting y'all to not think that I'm planning on killing people, and that my darkness doesn't define me, and yours doesn't either,
But again, that comes down to another idea that I have, that I think people can do bad things and evil things, and what actually defines those two things is also contextual. So,
absolutely, culture too.
Saying that you want to kill some kid that was bullying you, is that evil? No. Is that wrong? Yes. But wanting to do that doesn't make you an evil person, right?
Well, where does it make you an evil person if you carried it out? I think it's all subjective. I'm playing devil's advocate.
It's very subjective.
Absolutely.
I don't subscribe to a philosophy of either objectivism or consequentialism or genealogicalism.
Because none of it's 100%, just like you said earlier.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, when I want to judge something, you know, is it bad or is it evil? You know, there's two things. Both are wrong. Both shouldn't be done. But, you know, it's the intent, I guess.
I think what you're saying, I agree with all that, and I think that's kind of the burden of being one of those people that just. And the more I talk to you, the more I kind of see the brain in you is the brain that exists in me in terms of it's a tornado of thoughts, and sometimes it's real productive, but sometimes it leads you into dark places, and you can always devolve it down to kind of just a little bit of darkness. It might always end up there. But I think I lost my train of thought because I'm getting tired. But it was important. It was you jump back in and
Sure, we were just talking about, you know, like I don't know. I don't know where to segue out of this because we've sort of just got on to talking about what is right and what is wrong. And that's not
okay. Oh, I know where it's at. I'm going to jump right back in.
Oh, actually,
okay,
I
go ahead.
just say, look up trolley problem memes on Facebook. It's fucking hilarious. I just want to shout that out.
I think in terms of I want to piggyback off the good and evil or the bad and evil. I think in all of those circumstances, I think the world is a better place when you don't when you remember that there's a person behind those thoughts and behind those circumstances. Even like the war on drugs, I'm very much against putting people in jail for that. It creates criminals and causes other things. But when you just forget that there's a person behind that, like if you just kind of demonize a dude and just say, okay, you thought a bad thought or you did a bad thing and you're done forever. I think that's almost more evil than doing some shitty stuff once and then never being able to be forgiven for that. You know?
Sure, exactly, and that's the whole point. Because, you know, if someone smokes a little bit of weed, that's wrong, but it's not evil. You know, but if someone runs around raping and murdering kids, you know,
where do we draw the line?
Exactly.
Same thing with relationships. At what point do we say this is unacceptable, and what point do we try and talk through it? You know,
and that's up to every one of us to decide. Because the person doing that, maybe they know that what they're doing is wrong or evil. Maybe they don't. You know, there's the possibility that for them they don't think what they're doing is wrong or evil.
And that's why we need other opinions and outside inputs.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Yes, yes, exactly. So that's.
All right, let's put a nix on the relationship and the guns thing. We got hats. I want to hear more about. Oh, go ahead. Did you have some?
No, I was agreeing with you.
Okay, it was great. I want to hear about Endwar, and I want to hear about let's jump into. Would you like to talk about your Endwar experience? And because you were at Nation vs Zombies and Endwar.
Nation vs Zombies, and I was at Endwar.
Wait. You mean the one where they had like 10 people?
I don't mean the one with 20 dudes in a park.
I
No,
mean the one last.
Nation vs Zombies 1 in Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah.
That almost killed
At
me.
first I thought you said 20 dudes and a parrot with your weird English and
Yep.
Nova Scotian accent.
I like his accent. You shut your mouth.
No, I like it too, but it sounded like you said parrot.
Accent.
All right. So
English
your
Scotian.
thoughts on Nation vs Zombie and Endwar? Maybe just differences of your experience.
I went to NVZ, and it was not NVZ that I loved. It was Thunderdome that I loved for my trip, because NVZ was a lot of sitting in places that were obnoxiously hot and had no shade, and it was the people that made the trip and not the game.
Vietnam
And
flashbacks.
Endwar, the game made it, but only because it all focused on the people. So it's sort of like it all came together, whereas the NVZ was very divided. Whereas Endwar was, I mean, like, Sammy and I, we played, like, what? We survived to almost all of it, and
Yeah.
we didn't do anything, we just wandered around.
Yeah,
with,
we
like,
literally
Devin
just
and Jeffy, and
bullshitted around.
but we had a good time, we had a great time, I absolutely loved that.
I feel like in broad spectrum, in the end, it doesn't matter how or what if you're doing the missions or not. What matters is if you're having fun and enjoying your time with others that you're doing it with.
Like,
literally, I mean, that's how NVZ was like. It was a shit storm. Like, I was there and I absolutely hated who was like how it was run, because every 5 minutes it was being changed. Sorry, I'm not trying to like poke fun at people who are running the games. I can't.
We're past that.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, but yeah, I made the best of it. I tried to have fun, even though a lot of the part of it was kind of sketchy with safety regulations. I don't care. I had a great time with my friends there.
NVZ, correct?
That was NVZ.
Yeah.
Endwar completely blew my mind. It started out first day we got there. Literally started with phone con, just hanging out with my boy, like how you said, hang out with my boys at the table.
Yeah.
And then just like, even just messing with people, just trolling everybody there. That was fun. That is a memory I'm gonna share until I am dead in the ground with worms are eating my ass.
Real quick, I have 49 minutes on my time code. I'm gonna save 10 more minutes. We can go longer. I don't want to go play Diablo, but for the next 10 minutes, Rob is not gonna say a word, and y'all are in charge of where this goes. And but I will say, I do want to hear more about the Troll and Tony. Like, I feel like that set an atmosphere for the entire game in terms of just like ice-breaking and fun, Sammy. Rob will not open his mouth for the next 10 minutes, so y'all are in charge.
Gasp.
Oh God! All right, but continuing on the Endwar, like, yeah, like, with my experiences, just it literally started from day one. It was a surreal experience because, like, not only as a player, but like, at first I didn't even think I was really a thing. Honestly, like, yeah, Rob has put me in the like a lot of his videos, but I didn't think I was gonna be like, damn you for making me famous, Rob. Damn you. But yeah, like I've like until Endwar, I've never had anybody like want my autograph or want like a picture of me because I've never been like it was more of a big deal to me than it was to that person because like I felt super special for once in my life like that, like to bring happiness and joy to another person. Like honestly, I try to make every person in my life happy, like even if it's sacrificing my happiness a little bit. I don't care. Like, I will do my best, my damnedest, try to make every person smile or try to make their life better in some form of way.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same with that sort of thing. And so when I had people come up to me and ask me to sign their blasters and sign their bandanas and stuff, that was really cool.
It was really surreal.
You know, I'd only ever had someone ask for a photo with me back in Melbourne once, because we had one guy who was like a fan who only just recently started playing with us and was like, oh, you know, can I take a picture? And you know, he's a kind of annoying guy, and I kind of begrudgingly agreed, but you know, I'm sure it meant a lot to him. But you know, at FoamCon and Endwar, having you know little kids come up with their moms going, you know, oh, my son watches your videos, and you know, it'd be really great if you could sign this thing for him, you know, and you know, it felt good having inspired that person to do something, you know. Yeah, it was kind of cool. I don't really think I want to get used to that, you know, oh yes, everyone praise me for being an amazing
Praise the
person,
sun.
but
No.
it was pretty cool to experience.
Yeah.
I love that because I've been that dude. I was that dude. I will wear that with pride.
Fanboy.
No, because when I went to MVZ, I was so excited, and so I made a for victory, and I sprayed it up, and it was white. And I went around to people, and I was like, "Take this and sign it because I love your internet face." And
see your real face.
And I laid that on my wall, and it's still there. It's signed, both sides, handle, everything. I love that thing, and that was my conversation starter. And I absolutely love when people go up to you and they're like, "Sign this," and I'm like, because I know from experience that there are times where I could be like bored out of my mind doing something or like working on something. And I would look at my wall and be like, I remember when that guy did that thing on that blaster. I would love that. I love the idea that someone would look at that and remember.
For me, I came to Endwar, you know, I had a really decent time playing the actual game. You know, I'll write out a more complete and whatever breakdown of what I did and didn't like for the dev team for their feedback. But I came for the people. You know, I came to meet all of my friends and have some HVZ in between. And so instead of getting everyone to sign everything, you know, I didn't do any of that. I didn't take photos. What I did is I got face swaps of everyone.
That was so funny.
You know, and
That was the greatest thing
I'm sure
ever.
people watching it may have seen the photos. But you know, it's just that little personal thing that I share that with everyone that I've met and hung out with. And I'm trying to devalue the idea of signing a bandana because that's cool too. And I sign a lot of blasters because I thought that for that person was a valuable thing. But for me, I was there to meet my friends and dicking around and swapping their face onto mine and pulling a silly face while I did so was very meaningful for me.
Dick and mashed potatoes on nipples. That was another video, guys. You'll probably see it somewhere on the internet.
Yeah, I mean the face swap I did with your tattoo was fucking
That was
awesome.
the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Shit'll hold my dreams.
Yeah, so you know, for me, Endwar, it wasn't really even about the event. You know, I'm
About the connection.
Yeah, I'm a
Literally
little
connection to
disappointed
people.
that we had the van breakdown at FoamCon, but you know, I still got to speak to all the people I wanted to over the next few days. I mean, like from Tuesday morning to Sunday morning, I was up till 5, 7 a.m. every night, you know, drinking, hanging with friends. So it was good times.
It was.
Yeah, but I guess in terms of the actual game, it was a very interesting comparison to Z-Town. So the major difference between Endwar and Z-Town as a game was the way that Endwar was broken down into missions. And we spoke about this at the very beginning, but that's a really key difference in idea of how the moderators ran the game here. Because at HVZ, at Z-Town, the moderators have this idea that you are going to be immersed, you're going to figure out what's going on as you play, you're going to be absorbed, there's going to be emergent gameplay, and they have this idea of just setting people loose in an arena and watching what happens. And it doesn't work. I've spoken to Dave, I've filled in their surveys, and it doesn't work. And it's really unfortunate because they put so much effort into trying to make this story and this plot line, which, you know, is fairly similar every time, but they have this idea and they want to do it, but it just doesn't work. And it's simply because information isn't disseminated quick enough. And so by just simply getting all of the humans in a room, putting up on the projector, this is what you have to do. This is what the zombies are trying to stop you doing. This is the specials. This is how the specials work. You know, and not hiding anything. It's absolutely fantastic. And I really enjoyed that at Endwar. You know, I will complain about how long they took to do it, you know, how they tried to do this weird Monty Python routine. It was kind of funny, but kind of annoying. But, you know, it was, you know, we're playing the video game and we're loading the next level. We want to find out what's going on. We can see the mini-map, you know, like, all that sort of stuff is far, far, far better than the way Z-Town does it. But at the same time, it's different because in Z-Town, you're always on, you're always looking out, you're always trying to figure out what's going on. So, look, I don't know, I really liked Endwar, and I would love to put the two mod teams in touch, because if they bashed heads, I reckon they'd come up with something amazing.
You know, it's funny how you brought up the briefing and whatnot, because like half the time me and Jack didn't even stay. We were just continuously in the action. Like we were just trying to have fun with our friends. That's literally what we did with the hooligans. Like half the time we just like, let's just go. Let's go have some fun. Go find something to do. Like whether it's just like doing escort missions to go pick up the hooligans from their car, and then escort them back somewhere, and then I get like going on dossier hunts, and then me getting turned by a little kid, which made his entire HVZ or Endwar, NVZ, sorry, whatever, made his entire Endwar experience like it.
And same thing, like I've had messages from people saying, you know, you made my Z-Town experience by me dying next to you, you know, and that's just like, oh, that's so cool.
It tugs you right on your heartstrings, and you're like, you're such a good human being.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, that's not what I'm trying to do, and the fact that that happens just by that happening is also kind of cool. No, I don't like this sort of.
It teaches you like humility in some sense.
Well, you know, no, it doesn't.
No,
it doesn't. No, it really doesn't. Because how can you be humble when someone comes up to you and said, you know, I've watched all your videos, you've changed my life. You know, that's not the point to be humble. That's like the exact opposite of humble. You have to own that, because if you then say to them, oh no, you know, it doesn't mean that much. You know. Your experience is lessened. You can't do that.
I agree with that, but you also have to look at the perspective, like it's what your end goal is. Like, who in the end are you doing this for? Are you doing this for yourself?
Oh, sure.
Or are you doing this for somebody else?
I guess that is the other half of humble. So maybe.
Like, cause I'm not doing this for my own enjoyment. Like, I guess I was like for Endwar because it was fun. Like, I went there to go see my friends, but also like. It's kind of like it's like not really like it was life changing actually. Like it changed my life a little bit just to see excitement in people's face, and like just a little bit of, like seeing other people there, like people that they've only known from the internet. It's just changed their lives. It's not like that changed their lives, but seeing their reaction, it helped me change who I am, who I've become. Like, I used to be, like, it's hard to go and explain in this. Like, I didn't think I was really going to amount to much or anything. And then, like, I thought I was just an average Joe. And, like, people who say, like, stuff like Thunderdome Sammy, like, with that, it's just, it really made me feel good. And I felt like it was, I feel like I was just sounding like kind of like condescending, like I'm a dick or something. Like, I don't know why, but I don't know.
Real quick, we reached the 10-minute point. What I'm going to say is, from here on out, I'm not going to speak, and then you guys get to pick how long we go for it. Just kind of make sure you kind of wrap things up. Say what you want to say. I'll go for another hour if you want, but I think I think Rob's just going to shut up and not steer anymore. I think, but I like what you're talking about, and then you guys choose when we're done, and I won't say another word.
And like the broad end of it, like they helped me become a better person. Like, not even like the fact that like I showed up there. It's just like I showed them some happiness in life, and I see the smile, and it makes me feel like I have worth in this world about doing something that helps change the community. Like,
Yeah, that's good.
it's like how with fighting depression with toys, literally. Like, you're in a community that you want to help out with fighting depression or anything. It's not even depression, it's just like with people with problems. I want to make a difference to help out people. It's kind of like, I love helping people out if I can. And if I have the opportunity, I will try to snag up on that opportunity to help a person. Whether it's emotionally or shit, any other way, I'll do my best.
Yeah, I honestly, that pretty much covers the experience for me. You know, I'd love to do it again, but honestly, I'd probably just want to have a 3-day phone call. You know.
I can't afford a 3-day phone call.
Sure, but
Yeah,
I want to have
that's better get on the containment crew.
I just want
Those guys.
another excuse to put the 20 people that I hung out with back in the room again.
Yeah, it had a way better feel though.
This time we have Shelby with us too.
Because you weren't there at NBZ, right? No, but like, what I'm saying is it felt like before you even walked in the room, it felt different. Like that whole, we're gonna save it for the community feel that it had before it even started meant that when everyone went in there, because I will totally admit that when I played NVZ last year, I wanted to be the survival one. I was just as competitive as everyone else was, and the year that between NVZ and Endwar, it was sort of taken and stood in the right direction. Freedom.
Fireworks.
Freedom!
Nice. We should shoot one back because we would like a response. You know you want it,
Get
Rob.
into a wall.
But yeah, I feel like Endwar has like changed everybody's life in some form of way, and I think that's good. Like, it's had its positive outlook on life, or like a positive thing and niche, just to help improve people's life. Whether it's shut up with your freedoms. But going on that thought, I feel like it's just like been a positive influence on people's lives, and I can't wait for the next one and see what they have in store for us. Just to see what will happen and see what other positive stuff, like even like with all the people in FoamCon, they were doing raffles, just donating money to different charities and causes. That's great. I really dig that. That was something really cool that they did, and I can't wait for the next one.
I'm not going to qualify my laughter with an answer, but maybe by the time this video goes up, the video I'm laughing about will have gone up. Let's just say I got really drunk and there's a charity motor that's going to get sold soon.
Oh, please don't. Oh, okay. I was hoping you saw the video of Bobo and Jay Nerf leapfrogging. Oh, that was great. So, I feel like we've tied everything up for this segment of real talk for Nerf.
I want to hear Shelby's last thoughts too.
Oh, I like their idea of like a 3-day foam con. Like, have that be the main event, but have like little Nerf games throughout the day where like, hey, grab your blasters, we're gonna shoot at each other for an hour, and then we're gonna hang out some more.
It doesn't have foam cone because you just got a
Did
lot.
they?
Of, well, they didn't plan it. What happened?
We
was
weren't supposed
people
to fire
went-
blasters.
Yeah, basically, what
There was
happened
rules, then
was
those rules were broken.
they put a lot of Nerfers in a room and then said, "But you're not allowed to Nerf in this room." And they went, "Ah, fuck you." And then,
Well, kiddo, that's where you're wrong.
I like where you're going, but fuck your rules. We're gonna do our own thing because we're the misfits.
All right, I'm gonna give about real quick. I gotta jump in here just because I might not get to the opportunity.
I've talked out.
Yeah, no, we're good. So, I like to end each segment by just talking to you guys and just letting you know how much I appreciate you. And sometimes it's just like Sammy goes without saying, man, I love you. Like, I can't stop fucking talking about how much you've made my life fucking better, man, you know? And
You're the same way, man. You've made my life better.
I really feel like, I hope we're on the track to just lifelong friendship. In the secondary, I hope it's a long fucking time, you know what I mean? Just more fucking adventures and more tater poops. But,
No more tater sausage.
I just know whatever happens in this backyard or in our lives, I hope it involves you. I really do, you know? Mr. Jack, so glad you're fucking here, brother. I love you. And see what he was talking about with just like, man, a lot of my efforts in terms of just trying to share my medicine, like, everything changed the day you sent me that fucking message. And you're like, hey, saw your thing. I built this thing in my backyard. Like, there's been a lot of times where I've been really discouraged by all of this shit. And, dude, you were kind of like the thing where you always kind of made it worth it. You know what I mean? And this is the end I want to that story with. Even the end of Thunderdome Rob is just like, man, you coming down here and like, fuck Nerf. Like, I'm glad I made a good friend out of it. And dude, like, I can't wait to see the dude you're becoming. Like, after this shit, man, like, you're a fucking little miracle for me, man. And I'm pumped to see what comes next with you. And I'm glad that I get to be that next for the next month. So, America, freedom. Shall we? I'm sorry we didn't get a whole lot of chance to talk tonight.
It's okay.
Feeling it out. And turns out this guy's just fucking interesting as shit. That brain, I just want to pick it for days, you know. And so, man, I hope you come back and do another real talk with us. Like, I'm really glad you're in my life. And I'm fucking, dude, like, I was excited about the camping trip. And then when I heard you were coming, I'm like fucking pumped. It's gonna be great, dude. I love you, buddy. I really do appreciate the shit. And I'm glad that the shout out is you're shouting with us tonight instead of just like hearing it and reading it online. Thank you for watching the other ones. I appreciate it, man. Ryan.
Yep.
I hope you had fun with this. I knew it would be like this too, because really, like, what I like about this is it's like those amazing talks in your life around a campfire, where it's just like you didn't know what was gonna happen. It's just kind of like this is basically just choosing that, and the camera is almost like it's kind of a leash that leads you to somewhere good. And anytime you talk to people that you love, I think it's on a path of a path better than most things, I'd say.
Sure. I mean, still much more restrained than we spoke in the car and stuff like that, but it's good that at least if someone watches this all the way through, they know that that's now an option. You know, even though we didn't speak as heart to heart as we have previously, at least maybe someone can take from that and learn and grow.
Fuck everybody else. I got to know you a lot better, and even though I think you even just like it seems like when we're talking about that, you're like, man, I can't give my whole self, and so like that's bad. But I'm still kind of learning you. You know what I mean? And so like even through this, even if it is like camera face,
and,
whatever.
And at the same time, I'm still, you know, picking what to show.
Exactly. But even what you're picking doesn't matter if you pick the right thing or not. Like no matter what, I'll get to know you better, even if it's intentional or not. And I really thank you for being a part of our weird little Thunderdome's fucking weird, man. Like nobody does this shit. Everyone just plays video games, get drunks, and like fucks bitches, and all those things are fine. But I'm just saying this shit's better than that because my life is better because you were here right now and the rest of you. So I'll give you all last word, final thought. I like the Rob shut up at the end. That's really good. I like to. We'll do that. So Rob's done talking. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Platypus.
Bye, Internet.
Don't do drugs.
Don't use IMRs.
Do use IMRs.
Tell it to Josh.
Live life dangerously.
Be a good person.
I thought you phrased that as a question.
Wear clean undies. We love you, Rob Poole. I hope you're doing well, brother. Goodbye.